If you are looking to invest in a premium set of headlights to optimize the lighting performance on the front of your 2014 and newer 4Runners, these Raxium CXR series LED headlights with the amber DRL, black housing, and clear lens will be a set that you'll want to take a look at. Now these will be tailored to the 4Runner owner that has worn or simply underwhelming factory headlights and wants a change with the luxury feel and sporty look that these radiate. Now again, in addition to the look, these will also be a solid choice for a big increase in performance if you live in a more rural area and need the most light that you can squeeze out of a set of headlights. Now these headlights are eye-catching for a few different reasons. One of those features being the 3 projector lenses for the driving lights that are going to be backed by LEDs for a brighter and more modern light output compared to the standard halogen, but also how the lens projects that light. Now it will create a very consistent and full beam pattern to light up the road in addition to your peripherals, unlike a scattered incandescent, and the sharp cutoff line that these create will help when it comes to reflection and avoiding any harsh glare, ultimately improving your visibility tenfold. The second big feature here is that amber DRL, adding a Baja feel, making the 4Runner stand out with the styling and also keeping your truck noticeable on the road with the solid DRL function. The amber DRL also acts as the turn signal, featuring a steady solid blink when actuated. Now along with the lighting, the black housing will have a gloss black appearance to not only add a more sinister feel to these lights, but a polished premium feel with the small details and the glossiness that it adds, and the clear lens will allow for that darker look without lessening the light output compared to a smoked set. Now these will have a very well built construction with an ABS plastic housing for a majority of the build being resilient and molded to the factory spec for a direct fit replacement. Now these lenses will also be impact resistant, made of a polycarbonate material, and to further the protection of the lens, it will be coated in a UV coating to prevent any yellowing or oxidation over time, which is something that the factory lenses see. Now the housing and the lens will be weather sealed to protect the LEDs inside. The LEDs will be maintenance free and long lasting, and the headlights will be completely DOT and SAE compliant. They're also completely plug and play with OE style plugs, and again, a direct bolt-in replacement for the factory ones, making the install hassle-free. Now these are around $1,200, which will put these on the higher end of the spectrum when it comes to the price point compared to the rest of the headlights in the category. Now these no doubt have a high quality build and look as well as exceptional lighting performance, so you definitely are getting what you pay for in this set. Now this also will save you a few dollars compared to some of the priciest choices in the category, so if you are looking for luxury lighting when it comes to your 4Runner, these are going to be a solid pick for you. Now the install is straightforward, but I would recommend a little bit of mechanical know-how to get these installed. So I am gonna give a 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, but if you do have that and the right setup and tools, it should only take you about an hour or so to get the job done. However, at this point, I'm gonna pass it over to one of our installers. They are going to show you how to get these installed on your 4Runner, whether you're just curious about the install or you're tackling this job yourself. So that is going to wrap it up for my review. Let's go ahead and jump into the install.
The tools you'll need for this project are a ratchet, a 10mm socket, a trim panel removal tool, and a pair of needle nose pliers. Hi everyone, today we're installing a set of headlights on our 4Runner, so let's get started by watching a short video on how to uninstall the stock headlights.
So the first thing we need to do is remove our front bumper. We have a bunch of bolts and clips holding it in. So first thing we're going to do is pop off our upper radiator cover. So to remove our radiator cover, we need to remove all of our push clips. Now these push clips are really simple. You just press in on the middle and they pop right out. So we'll do that for all of the clips. Now we're missing one right here, but you would have a clip there as well. And then with all of our clips removed, we can remove our radiator cover. Now with our radiator cover removed, we can remove the push clip on the corner of our headlight on both sides. So we'll grab a clip remover tool to pop that out, and then we'll do the same thing on the other headlight. Next, we can remove this 10mm bolt at the center of our grill. So we'll grab a 10mm socket to take that out. Now on the inside of our upper grill, we have 2 push clips on each side. So we'll get in there with our clip remover tool and pop those out. And then we'll do that same thing on the other side. Next, we can come down to our wheel well and remove these 3 10mm bolts. So we'll grab our 10mm socket to take these out. And then we'll do that same thing on the other side. Next, we can come underneath our bumper. We have 3 bolts on the 2 outer sides of our bumper. Might be a little bit hard to see. We'll grab a 10mm socket to get these out. And then we'll do that same thing on the other side. Next, we can come to the front side of our bumper. We have 2 bolts on either side. The one that has our bumper connected to it is the one we're going to be removing. We don't have to remove the bolt for the splash guard. So once again, we'll grab that 10mm socket to pull this out. And then we'll do that same thing on the other side. Now coming back up top, we just have 2 more things to do. We need to disconnect this wire harness, and there's 2 bolts on the other side of this harness that we need to remove. So we'll press in on our tab to pop our harness out, and then we can grab our 10mm socket for the 2 bolts back here. And now we can grab our 10mm socket for our 2 bolts. So now with everything removed from the bumper that we need to take out, we can start to pull our bumper off. You're going to want to grab an extra set of hands for the other side, and then we'll pop this out from our fender, bring it forward, and then disconnect the connector on the back of either side's fog light. And now we can remove the connector for our fog lights by pressing in on the tab. And now once we have our connector removed, we can do the same thing on the other side and fully remove our bumper. Now to remove our headlights, we have 4 bolts. We have 1 under this cover, 1 here, and then 1 on the side. So we'll take our 10mm socket to get these out. Now for our last one, we can fold back here to pop this out. Next, we can remove our last bolt. So once again, with the 10mm socket. So now with all of our bolts removed, we can pull out our headlight. So we'll fold that tab back again so we can pop it off of our clips, wiggle it out, and then we can disconnect all of our connectors. Just push in on the tabs to remove all of these. And then we can do that same thing on the other side.
So before we install our new lights, we do need to run a new DRL harness that's included in the light kit. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this fuse tap on the end of it here. We're going to plug that in one of the fuses in the fuse box, and then we'll run the rest of the wires. Obviously the short one will go to the driver's side, and the longer one will run over to the passenger side. So for now, we're just going to set this one up inside here behind the fuse box, and then we'll set the driver's side connector down here where the light would go, and then we'll run the rest of the wire down here in front of the radiator and underneath the core support here, across the front of the engine and into the headlight socket on the other side. So there is a gap between the core support and the radiator, so that's where we're going to feed this wire through. Now you don't want to pull too much of it because you do have the connector on the other end for the driver's side. So then for us, we're just going to run this over the horns here, across the hood latch, behind the air conditioner lines, behind this bracket, and then into our headlight cavity. Now you can go ahead and zip tie this up wherever you can find a spot to put it, if that's what you want to do. For our purposes today, we're just going to leave it hang because we're not leaving this on our vehicle. Now we can go ahead and install our lights. Now that we've got our harness run, we can go ahead and plug this in to our fuse panel. So we're going to go ahead and remove our cover here. The fuse that we're going to be using is this 7.5 amp fuse right here, which is labeled as your EFI number 2. If you have a 2010 to 2019 version of the 4Runner, what you'll be doing is using this fuse right here, which is a 10 amp fuse. So we're going to go ahead and pull our 7.5 amp fuse out, and the fuse tap that is supplied with the kit already has both fuses in here, so we can just tap this in, run our wires around, and go ahead and replace our cap. Now let's go ahead and get our headlights installed. All right, now we can go ahead and connect our harness back up to our lights. Just plug in all of our connectors again. Make sure they all snap in. And then lastly, we'll plug in our new DRL harness to the additional connector here. Then we can go ahead and put our light back into position. And now, reusing the stock hardware, we'll go ahead and install our lights. And we'll go ahead and install the rest of our screws. And don't forget the one on the side. And now we can tighten them all down with our 10mm socket. And now you can repeat that process for the other side. All right, now that I've got a buddy, we can go ahead and lift our bumper up, reconnect our fog lights, and set this in place, and go ahead and finish installing the bumper. Now with our lights installed and our bumper back on place, we can start reinstalling our push pins. So we'll install the 2 on the corners here, and then the 4 underneath here, underneath this top part of the grill. Now we can replace the 2 bolts that go in the center here and the one on top. And now we'll tighten them all down with our 10mm socket. And finally, plug in our connector. And now we can go ahead and reinstall our grill cover. We'll put this back into place. And then, reusing the original push pins, we'll put them back into place. Now we can go underneath and install all of our bolts underneath. And we go ahead and install our screws in our fender wells here. And we'll tighten those down with our 10 mil socket as well. Now you can repeat this process for the other side. Now underneath the bottom of the bumper here, we'll install the 2 screws on the outside. And then the one towards the center. Tighten them all down with our 10 millimeter socket. And repeat that process for the other side. And that wraps up our review and install of the Raxium CXR series LED headlights with amber DRL and the black housing with clear lens for your 14 and newer 4Runner. Thanks for watching, and remember, for all things 4Runner, keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.